What's up, chum bags? Welcome to the SDSK show. My name is Sri Kandula, and today I'm joined once again by my co-host in crime, Alexa Stilly. And we have, well, hold on to your seats because kind of a shocker of an episode. This morning I sat down, I wrote all the stuff that I was like, this is going to be what this episode is going to be about, just like I do before every episode we do.
Hmm.
But today, after I finished scribbling, I came across the topic that I thought would be just a lot more, well, topical. And so I'm deciding to push, for the first time, this is a historical moment, push the topic that I was going to talk about. And how I'm going to do the other topic now is up in the air. Whether I would do it next week or maybe like a bonus episode in between. I don't know. We'll
Hmm.
figure that out when we get there. But nevertheless, I think that this is something interesting that incidentally, I was interested in talking about to a certain degree anyway, and now it's just kind of become skyrocketed up to the main topic of this episode. But of course, you're all probably in mystery about what that is. And that's exactly how I'm going to keep it. Because first,
Well,
we got
probably
a few
not if they
things.
saw the title, but it's all right.
No. It's all mystery. I'm gonna name. I'm gonna name it like um something like Sri does the whole show naked, and then like in parentheses clickbait.
Smart move, smart move. Make sure to do the
Yeah,
parentheses clickbait. That's the key.
yeah, it is the key. But before we get into that, of course want to start off with a few announcements about what's going on with us. First of all, if you didn't know already, we're doing a new streaming schedule over on Twitch, and on top of that, we're also doing a new streaming method. For those of you who don't know the streaming schedule, on Mondays we are streaming the SDSK show just like now,
Whoa.
and on Tuesdays it is Perk Up with Perkins, where he's currently playing through Psychonauts.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesdays, it's Alexa Plays, and currently she's on episode 4 of Stardew
6.
Valley. Holy, 6 of Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out of the
Keep
loop.
up.
On
We
Thursday,
got chickens.
it's Chill Streams with Sri, where I am currently playing through Assassin's Creed Origins. We're about 5 hours into the game, though this week may be a little bit different of a game. We'll see how it shakes out. Nick and I have been talking about a game in back and forth, and it's just been a very interesting conversation because he's playing the first game in a series and I'm playing the second, and we're both sharing what we love about both,
Mm.
with neither of us having played the other one. You know what I mean? So
Fascinating.
it's very productive conversations are happening. And then on Friday, of course, and Saturday are our regular streams where we are trying our new streaming method, which is that we're playing cooperative games, which is, not something new for us, but
Mm-hmm.
while we're playing, we're streaming all the perspectives. So we're playing through Outriders right now, both myself, Austin, and Alexa, or not both, all three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to each perspective and watch it. And I will say this, it's been interesting seeing how people kind of take advantage of that because some are just like on one stream, just chatting
Mm.
away like they usually do,
Yeah.
and others are have I've seen the screenshots of all three,
Going at once. Yeah.
on ones or like one on each monitor. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's great. So
Mad
love to
lads.
see it. And then yeah, I don't know how you can possibly process all that information. And then the what was it? Oh, and then Alexa and I have just started playing not Assassin's Creed, Far Cry
You're playing
5. You might be
Assassin's Creed.
confused if you no, you might be confused if you did, open in and see me wearing that Assassin's Creed outfit in the game. You might be like,
Mm.
"Whoa, is he playing Assassin's Creed?" No, we're playing Far Cry 5 co-op, and I will say it is a hell of a ride. We've
Yeah.
played around 4.5 hours of it. You can
I'm really
watch it on
good.
GW and Co Plays. She's excellent at it, actually, almost as good as how good the stream sounds. And it is. There's a lot of ups and downs. We
Does this
take
stream
down
sound
some.
bad?
No. I meant like when the first half of your
Oh, well, that's getting just
the
deleted.
Yeah, but now it's
There'll
forever
be
kind of
no memory
cemented.
of
And
that.
well, I've just stated it on this
Damn
episode,
it.
so clearly, yeah. And then yeah, there's we destroy some convoys, we fight a cult, and best of all, we have a dog named Cow,
Hmm.
which is all completely makes sense in the narrative of the story.
Hmm.
And then lastly, the two final things, kind of announcements internally that I'll say is one, we have a meme contest going on where if you make a GW and Co themed meme, which we've gotten a few already, and they're pretty good. You can post them on any social media, share it with us, and you get a chance to win free games, and we will pick
Hmm.
the ones that we like and give out some free games, which is always exciting. And if you really want to get your giveaway kick, Alexa, would you care to explain the little
Oh,
deal
there's a
whenever
giveaway
you
over on
got?
my Instagram at Alexa and a co with a zero there at the end because the one with the O is already taken. Um,
Of course.
and I'm doing a little giveaway with the coldest water, where they gave me five $10 gift cards to give away. All the rules and regulations are on the post on my Instagram, so I recommend checking that out because it'll be a whole lot easier than listening to me explain it.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's really simple. You just gotta, or I guess I'll say it. You just
Yeah,
gotta
it's
follow,
so simple
like,
that I did
comment,
it,
and you
and
can be entered to win a $10 gift card for the coldest water. It's a e-gift card. I'll just DM it straight to the winners. Very easy, low effort on your end, and you could get free
Alexa,
10 bucks.
this is too long. I gave you like your 5 seconds of
You
fame,
know
and you
how
made it
long I
like
do
50
my
seconds.
sponsor
All
reads in
right.
my videos. I don't know how you expected anything
Jesus.
better.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
Kevin.
this isn't a sponsored read, but nevertheless, you can do that. And like I said, it was very easy. I did it myself. I'm hoping I win. I tagged some
Mm-hmm.
good people. My good friends.
You're
So
not gonna win.
what? That's fair. That's unfair. I'm emailing Coldest directly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now, with that said, there's kind of a topic that I'm going to tease a topic that we'll be doing later on in late July, early August, probably what it'll end up being on. But Alexa and I are competing or participating in Camp NaNoWriMo. And if you don't know that, I'll briefly say that it's essentially
Well,
national
NaNoWriMo stands
novel.
for National Novel Writing Month.
Yep.
Easy start.
Yep. And it's actually normally in November, and I wanted to take part of it last November, but if you guys remember, I was kind of in between. I was in the last draft of this debut novella that I was writing, so I couldn't really, start a new project while I was on the final draft of getting that done.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, I wanted to do Camp NaNoWriMo, and Alexa's joining me. We're doing separate things, but it's just kind of like, doing it with a friend is always a little bit easier. And hopefully, we have kind of shorter expectations. We went into it with different expectations than what we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever happens at the end of this kind of month of writing, we'll do another episode again, probably around the start of August, talking about how it went, what are our thoughts, all that kind of stuff. Maybe talking
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more about just the writing process and stuff, because I don't do that too much on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, talking about not too much on the show, we're gonna talk about movies. I know it's crazy, but here's the thing. Usually, so far, whenever we mention movies, I've always been very like, there have been movies that I love, and I decided that it was time I talk a little bit more openly about my movie tastes, both good and bad. But I think one thing I want to establish first is that it's not. Like, I think I was watching a Brandon Sanderson live stream, and I think he said something to the effect of like, criticizing is fine, but as long as you're doing it in a not malicious way, and of course, it doesn't need to be said, but I will say it because there's idiots. Nothing that's ever said, like I don't ever say things that are like purely mean-hearted. At least I hope
Mm-hmm.
not. But I don't ever intend for anyone to go out and go find someone who made the movie. You fuck, your movie sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that stuff is just I feel like it's unproductive at the end of the day.
It's just
Um,
rude, honestly. It's
it is,
disrespectful.
I think one of the things that I always find interesting. So there's currently discussion going on we're just gonna jump into this kind of episode, just into
Yes.
the ramblings that we usually happen. And Alexis, you have chat open, so feel free to you
Yeah,
know
Kevin's in chat. He said hi. Well, he didn't. He said
bring.
the peeps, the potatoes, the amazing, the cats, the sharks, the sandal redwood
What was the
traffickers.
amazing? What was the what
Amazing.
was the amazing? That was it. The amazing.
No, I don't want to
What was
offend
it?
anyone.
Okay. So there's been news recently about the fact that The Last of Us Part One
Sorry,
is
Kevin. If you want to be
getting
read, make Sri
remade.
open up chat.
Is getting remade, and obviously a lot of people have been going, like, I guess, telling people, hey, use fucking crash grab. And recently the developers had, like, or one of the animators said, like, this isn't a cash grab, like, we're putting in all our, like, our full
Which thing
earned
is this?
The Last of Us Part One.
Mm,
And they're saying we're not just like a cash grab, we're just kind of like, re-releasing the game. This is like, putting in a lot of effort to make sure that everything works and everything looks way better. It's rebuilt from the ground up, all that stuff. And I saw it was just in the conversations of this. This isn't. I don't want to really talk about the actual news of it because obviously I'm biased. I'm excited about the fact that The Last of Us is coming out because it gives me another chance to play it. But um, I saw people in the comments were like, "Yeah, well, if you're willing to share your opinion about this, then other people can share their opinion about it being a cash grab." And I was like, sure, but like, there's a certain line there where you're just going out of your way to be a douche,
yeah.
and that's the stuff. That's why you're called an idiot. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
why you're an idiot. Just don't do it. But anyway, obviously the question leading into this, the very movie heavy episode is, what have you been watching recently, Alexa? I'll let you take the lead. I have
Oh
my
gosh.
few that I've written down,
Oh, I wish you'd
but
prepared me.
I'd never do that. That's clearly never not.
Movies that I've watched recently.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have just. I guess I can open up the app. Um, I mean, if we want to talk about not great ones, I watched Sing 2 on Netflix the other day just for
Oh, did you
funsies.
really? I
Mm-hmm.
was. So here's
It wasn't bad. You know, it's a cute kid movie. It's exactly what you expect it to be.
well, so
Nothing more, nothing less.
Alexa and I watch a lot of movies
Yeah, I haven't
because
watched as many this
we
last week
have
though, because I've been so busy with work.
well no, I mean, like, we go to theaters and watch movies, and I'll
That's
talk
true.
about a little bit more about that in when we get to the main topic. Um but the go we go to theaters because we have a membership. We can go see as many movies as we want, and
Mm,
the method that I've personally like, and I think Alexa also follows, is going once a week, one day a week to the movies and watching two movies, like
mm,
whatever the last, whatever came out last week. I tend to watch both of those. And that way I'm kind of in the loop. I know what movies are out, and I just love watching movies in theaters. It's just like I'm a
mm.
huge fan of. So tomorrow is Tuesday, which is when I usually go. And I was looking at the movie theater, and I was actually, it happened at the gym today. I was looking through the list of what was playing tomorrow, and I almost went because there's Sing 2 was playing.
Oh,
They're
interesting.
doing a re-release, and I was like, maybe I'll go watch Sing 2 because I kept seeing the trailer for it.
It's fun.
And
I mean, it's cute.
there's just
I wouldn't
there's
pay a
one
lot of
scene
money
that
for
there's
it.
that chameleon thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that it just always sticks to my mind. Like, she's just
Yeah,
looking
she's
like the
like, I don't
hard
know what type of
death.
lizard she's supposed to be, but yeah, the
I think it's a
assistant.
chameleon, or
Matthew
not
McConaughey is the main character in that. Did you know?
all right,
It's a lot of big names.
I'm
He's
in.
the koala. Reese Witherspoon's the pig. Scarlett
Just
Johansson's the
Yeah, I was gonna
porcupine.
say.
Taron Egerton's the gorilla. I think Nick Kroll is the other pig.
Hmm.
Um, one second, I'll pull up the cast quick because there's also Bono's in it. Fun
Yeah,
fact.
yeah, because he plays the lion, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like a
Yeah,
special
that was
character.
like the whole plot of the
Um,
movie.
you have, who am I forgetting? Oh, Tori Kelly, of course, is Mina the elephant, and yes, it is Nick Kroll. Oh,
Mm.
and Halsey's actually in this one. She
Hmm.
plays a wolf. Yeah, there's a lot of cool people and a lot of smaller characters as well. Those are the main ones. And there's also Bobby Cannavale is Mr. Crystal. Oh, him. Okay, I do know who he is.
Mm.
I all the voices, like, you recognize them, but it's not all of them are you
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
like. But they're all very
Mhm.
talented singers, and there's some great performances and covers of popular pop songs.
Yeah.
It's just like it's fun.
I mean, I will still see it sometime,
Yeah,
but I
it's
don't know
on
if I'll
Netflix.
I don't know if I'll go to the theaters to watch it.
Mm,
um, as much as I love watching movies in theaters.
yeah.
I've been
When did I
watching.
watch the
Go
most
ahead.
recent movie I watched? I can't remember what day I watched it.
Wow,
KRK.
falling
What day
behind
did I
us.
watch that?
It's literally I think it's Sunday. It's literally the point of Letterboxd.
Yeah, I know. I
Or
thought
no, it
I'd
was
put it
Saturday
in. I
actually.
remember
It
looking
was
up the
Saturday.
movie in Letterboxd, but I guess I didn't log it. I've only seen 4 movies this month so far, though. That's really low for me.
Shaking my head.
How many have you
Um,
seen this month?
Let me see.
You're also not up to date, by the way.
I have it written down,
I
so at
also
least
have it
I'm
written
a little bit.
down, but it's in the
What?
other room
Oh,
in my
oh.
journal.
Well, I have it written down, like ready to go.
Mm. Well,
I've
I didn't know we were going
watched
to be discussing this today.
10 movies.
Damn, much more ahead
Yeah.
of me. I feel like I'm missing movies, but I don't know. I guess I'm not.
Hmm.
I've been watching a lot of shows this
Excuses,
month.
excuses. I've
Mm.
been in a show slump. I've been wanting to watch a show, and I just like it's been one of those things. I just don't want. I can't
See,
pick a
I'm
single
feeling
one.
that way about movies right now.
So what happens? It happens to the
Mm-hmm.
best of us. So I've watched. I watch a lot of Indian movies
Mm.
because my
I watch a
parents
fair few.
watch a lot of Indian movies, and
Mm.
whenever they watch, they prefer not to watch Hollywood movies because they prefer to understand fully
Mm.
what they see. And it's not even like they don't understand. Like my dad knows fully English. He just the culture is still not, you know,
Yeah.
like a
Hey,
second nature
Mohammed.
yet. So I watched this
Welcome.
one movie, and it's a long title. It's called Ashoka Vanamulo Arjuna Kalyanam.
That is a long
Um,
title.
it is a very long
I'm not
title,
even gonna try to
and
say that one.
yeah, yeah. But I went into this movie. I watched the trailer once, and I was like, I know what to expect here. And this movie pulls off two bait and switches,
Mm.
and I love like and it's a very simple movie, like it isn't um like I can't contradict myself because I can't say oh it's really it surprised me, but also it's a pretty basic story. Like it's a pretty like simple
It's a simple overall
love
concept,
story.
but they added
It's a
new
it's a
things
it's
to
a
it.
simple kind of rom-com, you
Mm.
know, but it's the way when it's set and how the story is told and the way it's presented is it's really just awesome. And I love it's one of those things where I always it's the execution that I always try to do with when I release movies or books, that kind of the way they essentially lied to audiences, but like when you're there, you're like, I get it, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that and I was thoroughly surprised. And there's like a whole vibe this movie has, and I was just watching and I was like, this is like I don't know if it was like the right time that I was watching it, because I was like watching this is good. This is lining up with the vibes that I'm feeling right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out well.
That's
And then
good.
then I also watched Elvis,
Mm.
which
Yeah, I
is
was
a
just gonna
movie
talk
that
about
I
not that
found.
one, but I know probably which one you're gonna mention next.
Well, I'll let you talk about that one next.
Hmm.
But Elvis was interesting because it was almost informative. It was more so informative, and that's what I found interesting because I didn't really know too much about Elvis,
Yeah.
and so going into it,
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't think I know too much. Like I
I
know
was
a little bit.
surprised about what happens in Elvis's life,
Mm.
and in his kind of the ups and downs of his career. I think the movie it's one of those the movies that the way it's presented, you'll either love it or hate it,
Mm.
and I don't know which side I fall on.
You're
Yeah.
like somewhere in the
Um,
middle.
well, it's
You
not
love
even the
things
middle.
about
It's
it, but you don't
I'm not
like
a
the whole
fan
movie.
of it overall, but
Yeah.
I think that there's certain things I enjoyed seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie's presented in like as if you're on the cocaine. Like is the closest thing I can imagine to like it's so crazy, and the movie flips back and forth between times. Like it'll go from Elvis like this character really old to this character
Well, this
like
person.
oh sorry, yeah, this person very old, this person very young, and then it'll weave in a little bit of Elvis, but then like
It's
when
always the
you
same actor playing him, right? Throughout all the ages, besides, of course, as a little kid.
oh yeah, well, so the character I was talking about was not actually Elvis, but
Oh.
yes, yeah, it
Oh,
is.
is it
You do.
the. I won't say anything. I don't know if it's spoilers or not.
Well, I mean, here's what I'll say. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler
Mm.
because the it's a biopic, and
Yeah,
there's
I know. It's
certain
like, how much
things.
can you spoil a biopic? It's like spoiling life, you know?
So like I'm not well, and I think I have more a problem with the structure rather
Mm.
than the the story or whatever because that's just I can't make fun. I think Elvis should have really. I think he made the wrong choice here. You know what I mean? Like he
Mm.
should have lived his life differently. I can't really say that, but the movie has this whole thing. It's about Tom Hanks' character. Like he drives the movie forward, the
Oh, I
narrative
didn't realize
forward.
there's that much about him. I knew he was a significant role, but
Yeah, and
interesting.
this whole time the movie is kind of leading up to this big point because apparently his manager, who he was Elvis's manager, he was very dirty in terms of how he
Mm. I could tell
dealed
that
and
from the trailer.
how he kind of used Elvis was the kind of big thing. But the whole movie is him going, "Well, you see, I wasn't the thing that killed him. I wasn't I was good for
Him trying to
Elvis.
like
I
make
made him big."
excuses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And at the end, they go for this like what feels like they're trying to be a very profound moment, and I'm gonna ruin that for you. So for the
I was
next
just debating watching it tomorrow, but we'll see.
okay, so for the next 3 minutes there'll be spoilers if someone's watching, so you can hit the
Can
next
I hit
button.
next? Can I skip forward?
No, you cannot.
Damn it.
So starting now, so the movie is essentially
Someone's
builds
gonna
up to
tune in
him
right now
to
to the
to
live.
to is the Iceman, I believe his name, to him saying, uh, "I didn't kill Elvis. It was you that did it. It was the fans
Mm.
because Elvis loved his fans so much." And it's like this supposed to be that at least that's what I felt like it was like kind of building up to like you see it wasn't me, it was you.
Mm.
Um, and then in like and so it's essentially that's the point the movie's been building up to, right? It's like it's this all this and it's like intercut without with Elvis's story, and then it cuts to black, has the typical you see it in a biopic every time there's a text comes in and Elvis and blah blah blah, like it tells the real what happened afterwards, and the first line or the first or second line in that slideshow is like, oh yeah, and by the way, he lost the court case where he said where he was charged with being unfair to Elvis or whatever because he
Mm.
put like took 50-50. So the movie kind of just says, "Oh yeah, that was just the fucking lie." And like it just tosses it out the window. And so I felt like that
Nice.
kind of undercut the kind of the rest of the whole build up to it, at least in my opinion, but I have heard a lot of people really like it. I'm not going to take that away from you if you really enjoyed it. But I love Elvis's music and I had no idea that he was the number one selling solo like independent artist. Because I always thought it was Michael Jackson, but no, it's Elvis, and then I guess Michael Jackson is a close second, which is cool.
Mm.
Alexa, would you want to jump over to the next movie that you were so confident that I'd be talking about?
I do want to address a comment in chat first. Kevin says DiCaprio
Sure.
is crush of Alexa, and I've actually never once had a crush on Leonardo DiCaprio.
That
Have you,
makes one
Sri?
of us. What?
Have you ever had a crush on Leonardo DiCaprio?
Um, I don't know. I said it for the joke, but actually, uh, I don't think I've
No
watched.
man crush. I didn't watch his
Well, no,
movies till I was
I
older.
didn't. Yeah, well, yeah, that's part of it. But it's like I didn't watch any of his like peak golden boy
Yeah, I have
type of
not seen
movies.
most of his
Like I
movies either.
watched Inception was the first movie that I watched of his, and
I think,
he's looks good because he's Leonardo DiCaprio in
yeah,
that
I know
movie.
he's a
But
good-looking guy.
it's still he's not like playing a romantic. He's playing like I potentially killed my wife. I don't know what's going. Like, it's not a flattering look. And then I also
Yeah.
watched him in right after that I watched him in Shutter Island. So
Also,
not
not the
any
most
better.
flattering look. Yeah.
Yeah, not any better. So that's kind of where I was, and then by the
Mm,
time I
that's
went
fair.
back and watched Titanic and stuff, it was already
Mm.
I was gone.
Wolf of Wall Street, for legal reasons, is not inspired by the GW and Co. HQ adventures.
Well, I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street is literally based on a true story.
It is actually.
um,
Um,
But yeah,
So
go ahead. You can.
I thought of one I wanted to mention quickly that is not the one that I thought you were going to talk about.
Oh,
And it
okay.
is in like the last month, it was technically in the last month I watched this, the most surprising movie for me. The one I went in
Mm,
with like no to negative expectations. You know, like I was in the more
mm.
negative range and I cracked
Can
up.
I guess?
You can.
Okay. We should both say it at the same time. All right, ready?
Okay,
So
ready?
I'll say three, two, one, and then you say it.
Is
Right?
there going to be a go or are we saying it on
No, we
one?
just on like three, two, one, and then you say it.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Three, two, one.
The Bob's
Men.
Burger movie.
Oh yes, the Bob's Burger
I was
movie.
saying a positive thing. I went in with negative expectations. I was
Oh
saying, and it
right, right.
surprised me. If I went in with
Of
negative
course.
expectations and hated it, it wouldn't be a surprise.
But I did watch the Bob's Burger movie
Yeah.
as well, and that was a very
I
pleasant.
cracked up. I kind of want maybe that could be the show you watch, Sri.
Maybe yeah, there you go. It was a very
Um,
pleasant
yeah,
experience.
I don't want to
Like
talk about
totally,
Man. Men
like
was two
there's
months ago too, Sri. That was in May.
it's not man by the way, it's men.
Okay, whatever. But it was 2 months ago, so you
Um,
were just fully off track.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I enjoyed the
Hmm.
Bob's Burger
The
movie. You
Bob's
said,
Burgers movie.
wow, that's what it's called,
Hmm.
the Bob's Burgers movie, and because it was one of the few movies that you watch and it's so funny consistently
Hmm.
that you'll miss things that are funny because you're like still trying to process the last thing
Yeah, the
you
jokes
heard.
are very rapid fire, but also well paced.
Yeah, and the songs were
Really enjoyable.
unexpected. I did not think it was a musical.
Neither did
So
I. The
when they
first
broke into
song
song for the first
really,
time, I was like,
really
"Whoa,
surprised me.
there's a song in this movie," and then they go into another, and
I
the
love
songs are
animated
also
movies in general, but
good too.
normally I watch kids' animated movies.
You sing the
No,
Bob's
that is
Burger
not a
movie
kids'
is not
movie. I
good.
would not show that to my kids. If I had kids, I do
Interesting.
not have kids.
She just slipped up.
Nope, I
Now
do
they know.
not have children. I am
Now they know.
thankfully do
Um,
not yet.
but it's interesting. You mentioned men.
No,
You
I did
brought it up
not. You
you
did. Why
brought
are
it
you
up,
acting
and
like
so
I
I
brought this
think
movie up?
you brought it up. So I thought I'd chime in
I did not like that movie.
based off of what
I
you
have no
said
want to
because
discuss that movie.
I was going through the like uh, an IMDb page. It came up because you know how. All right, I don't know if you have IMDb installed on the
I
app
don't.
installed, but if
I
you
just
do,
use the
it
browser.
just suddenly like sends you a notification saying, "Hey, this movie exists."
Hmm.
And sometimes it's movies I've already seen, and sometimes it's a movie that I have no interest in seeing. It's very rarely a movie that I see. I'm like, "Oh man, I really want to watch this."
Hmm.
But it showed me a thing. I was like, "Hey, Men is a movie," and I was like, "Yeah, it is." I watched it. I just clicked on it, scrolling through, and I saw a review that pretty much summed up in a very short sentence how I feel about it. And the review said it's simultaneously too much and too little. And it's
Yeah.
exactly
Sorry,
how I
I
feel
left to
about it.
something different. I opened up the letterbox reviews of Men for curiosity.
Yeah,
In the
yeah,
top review
yeah,
is this was so scary. I'm glad British people aren't real.
yeah, yeah. There's another one of those reviews that I thought was really good. I'm gonna now you got me trying to find it because by the way,
It's some
Letterbox
interesting.
reviews.
There's a lot of I mean, there's one that's like men making movies about toxic masculinity, but having nothing more to say than men bad.
Yeah, um,
Um,
I mean, there's one, and
I
this
have one that's a spoiler, but
no, I
made
think
me
we're on the
laugh.
same one because it is a minor
Two and a
spoiler,
half
but
stars.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
So
is.
minor spoiler for the end of Men, um, and it says
Yeah.
400% more birth than anticipated, and it is
Oh,
absolutely
100% true.
true.
That is
This
so
movie has a
true.
sequence of events at the end of the movie. Obviously, we already blew the spoiler alert on this one,
Hmm.
where
I told you we should have put in the title.
a person gives again. Just, if you it's to skip now if you want to just like forward a minute or something. But a person gives birth to another man. A man gives birth to another man, who then gives birth to another man, who then gives birth to another man, and each of them are
And who
born in
then
like
gives birth to
slightly
another man? You missed one.
yeah. Oh, sorry. And then but like they're all in
Seared into
slightly
my brain.
different ways, and
More
like
disturbing than the last.
And like yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
the last one like the
disturbing.
foot comes out first, I think,
Yeah,
or
and
something
it's not the
something.
wrong hole.
It's
And I mean, it's all the wrong hole.
crazy, and I really firmly believe that if you want a really crazy body horror, just watch Annihilation. It's also from Alex Garland. I watched that
Annihilation, I
movie
loved.
a lot of times,
I
and
loved Annihilation. I did not
it's a
like this at
very
all.
it's a very good movie. I
This
think. Well,
is
I mean,
bottom least favorite movies like I've ever seen. Not even gonna lie.
it's really uh I don't know. It's maybe potentially well-meaning. I don't know what the intent
Yeah, I
was,
think
but I
it did
feel
have
like it
well
was
intentions
well-meaning.
behind it. I
But
do
I
agree
just
with
think
that.
that
It was
it
just a
didn't
miss.
offer, yeah, it didn't quite offer the same like execution. Like it looked really pretty. Like that's
It was
undeniable.
shot
Like
well, and there was a lot of really good makeup in it as well. I want
yeah,
to give credit
and the
where credit's
acting
due, you know?
is really good as
Yeah.
well.
And the
It's
effects as
just
well, but both practical and I'm
and
sure
there's
some
certain
CGI.
parts that I think the trailer is actually really good in highlighting the
I never
some like the
watched the
weird,
trailer.
creepy. I'm sure you have. This have played before a bunch of
No, I
movies
don't think
before.
if I watched the trailers, I wouldn't have gone to see the movie.
Well, okay, so there's some really cool shots in the trailer of like there's one of a cemetery and like this shadow moves
Mm,
and
I remember the shot
certain
from the
scenes
movie.
like that's probably when the movie was like the peak
I
was
agree.
like, oh man, this was like intense. I don't know where it's gonna go. And then it goes there. I'm like, oh, all right, let's go back. I want to see
Yeah, no, there's
before we get there.
this build up portion which is
Yeah.
intriguing, I
It's
think.
really yeah, it's
And
cool
it's
and
like,
it
okay,
kind of
where's
has
it
that
going?
anxiety to it.
And then you're like, this will be good depending on where it's going. And then it goes and you're like, oh no. No
Yep.
thanks. I almost walked out, not gonna lie. I almost walked
You
out at one
know,
thing because it was
that
really
was
just
rough.
gross. And I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it a million more times. I don't like unnecessary gross. It's just one of
Hmm.
my least favorite things. Like, I had to look away. Like, I literally gagged at one of the things. I think I
Yeah,
gagged at
yeah.
two things that happened in it. And I mean, I'm a bit sensitive. Not everyone will find it gross. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
But like,
I didn't like flinch during the movie.
yeah,
Maybe
I'm
I did
definitely.
once. There's like one thing,
But I also know what
but
I like, and I don't like that. Even if I wasn't affected by it, I still wouldn't like it. You know what I mean?
yeah. But shout out to the I guess like the VFX people
Mm.
who did the because there's a shot and again spoiler there's a shot where someone reaches a hand through a letter opener and a knife goes down and then
Oh
like
no,
they
stop
pull the
it.
hand out
My least favorite
and
things. I feel like that might have been practical with like a fake
no but
arm,
like
like a
it's
mixture of practical
whatever
and
I mean
CGI.
yeah but like that was impressive
It
because that
was. It was
looked
well done.
super highly
It
detailed
was disturbing as shit.
but of
That's why,
course
since it was so high
on this
detailed,
note
is why I feel like it was a half like practical, half
mhm.
CGI.
Well, on that note, on the note of VFX,
Mm-hmm.
before
Well, I do
we
want to
talk
respond to
more about
chat
that,
quick, who's saying Perkins needs
let's
to wear a bikini burger.
he wears that all the time. It's
Continue.
just how he communicates. But of course, before we go any further, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. You know, that was a really tempting offer. Whatever it was that we just heard.
Really good ad. 10 out of
Really good
10.
one. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about more movies. This one is the topic will be shifting a little bit more serious, at least in part. But first, let's talk about Love and Thunder.
Mm.
Thor 4, as they say on the
Mm-hmm.
streets.
Which is
And
now, in
this,
the current MCU, the person with the most amount of movies. Solo
yeah,
movies.
it is true. And it is once again directed by Taika Waititi.
Mm-hmm.
It is stars Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson,
Natalie
Natalie
Portman,
Portman,
Christian
Taika
Bale.
Waititi himself, Christian Bale, as well as some of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy for a small little portion. Now,
Mm.
I went to see this movie on opening night in IMAX, so I
Mm.
was, I put some cash down to watch this
Yeah.
movie
I watched it second
with.
night in one of those
No, you
RPX
watched it the
theaters
opening
in
day. It's not.
3D.
You watched it the opening day, not the second night. You watched it the opening day.
Oh, whatever.
Its opening night is Thursday night, and then Friday is
That's
opening
so
day.
stupid. Just say it comes out Thursday. Every movie does now.
No, because they don't play it until the night shows. They
But
only
not
start
really.
at
Like,
like
I had,
7 or
there were
so.
3 p.m.
Well,
showings.
oh yeah, for MCU it's different, but like every other movie, it's not that.
No, not really.
No, it's no. I will say like every movie other than the MCU movies, are always like at 7 o'clock is when they start.
Okay. I'll have to keep
I,
looking. I haven't really looked in a while. I've just been going second nights and stuff.
I always check. But so here's the thing, Alexa and I, we like she watched it Friday, I watched it Thursday. We were at odds a little bit about this movie
Mm-hmm.
because we feel differently about it.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, Ragnarok. Start there.
Phenomenal.
I love Ragnarok.
Everyone
I
does.
watched it in college. I don't know if I watched it with you, Alexa. I don't know if
No,
you
I
were
don't
there,
think so.
but
I think
I
I
know
saw that one
Austin.
actually with my dad. I think I went home and watched it with him.
There you go. Austin was there though. He was right by my side, like a good friend,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a total blast
Yeah.
watching this movie. There's like I remember going just to classes the next day or meeting up, and we'd quote the movie like actively like, "Hey,
I
it's
feel
cool.
like I
That
was
movie's
there when
cool."
you were quoting the
Like,
movie, and I
oh,
hadn't seen it
absolutely.
yet.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, maybe. Um, but yeah, there's just so much stuff we the next day or the next week we just kind of say because the movie was so unexpectedly funny and it was so
Mm-hmm.
colorful, and I think it was pushed a little bit away from whatever the form that MCU was kind of shipping into at the time,
Mm-hmm.
where it was almost like everyone was going serious at the because Civil
Mm-hmm.
War was happening and that whole era where it was leading up to the big end game. So
Mm-hmm.
MCU was like, oh, let's
And
get a
this was just
little bit
like
more
it was a breath of
serious.
fresh air. Yeah.
And Ragnarok was like, hey, let's just like take a second to look at some rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
And it really played with the character of Thor, which seems to be kind of why Taika was brought on. I think he was brought on because the studio wanted to do something different than
Mm-hmm.
Thor and Thor 2 The
Yeah.
Dark
No, I
World.
think Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok was just smart all around. Everything about it. The
Yeah.
choice of
And I
having
think it
Taika there.
succeeded in what it wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
and breaking that mold. And now I think they're back to do it again with Thor Love and Thunder. And I'm a little bit mixed about it. I wasn't as hot about this movie as I was of Ragnarok.
No, I mean I think we can
And
both agree it's not as good as Ragnarok. That's I think a
yeah,
blanket
but I
statement.
also am not on the side of Twitter where I've seen some rather extensive waves. I think
Oh yeah.
we'll get to that in a second, but I've seen this movie get flogged a little bit, but of
Mm.
course we'll get there. Alexa, what did you think about the movie? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
So, I mean, it's obviously not perfect. You know,
I think so.
it.
Okay,
Okay,
first of
you
all,
say I'm going to
I
talk,
do
and
want
then
to say
you cut me off
I do want to
immediately.
say this is because it
Like,
doesn't
let's
really
hear
matter what you
Alexa's
say.
thoughts. I say half a sentence.
The idea I used to say that all the time that it's obviously not perfect, but I realized that like no shit. Like I used to write that in
That's
my
fair.
reviews all the time, and I was like, yeah, like the percentage of things that are perfect is
Hmm.
so low that it's pointless to say,
That's fair.
oh yeah, it's not perfect. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
It's
But
kind of
anyway,
like
that's just it.
saying, no, like, what is it? Like, no offense, but,
Yeah, yeah.
um, no, I enjoyed it overall. I think it was fun. I think there are a few jokes that landed better with the other people in the audience than it did with me. I think
Who
the
were the other
screaming
people in
goats
the
were
audience?
overplayed. But
Oh my
and on
god, the
the other
screaming
hand,
goats.
my dad loved the screaming goats. One of his favorite things about the movie, and some of the other people in the theater as well with me were cracking up at them. So like they were
What was
working for
the
some people.
demographic?
I
I'm
guess
just curious.
middle-aged white men.
Interesting.
That's
Interesting.
the only people that I saw laughing at it.
I saw something about how that was inspired by
Yeah, I
the
knew it
Taylor
had to be. I was
Swift.
gonna look that up. The Taylor Swift meme. I was like, "Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?" Like, and if Taika Waititi's claiming he hadn't ever seen that before, and I'm like, "Where were you?" It was everywhere for like a whole year. I feel
Oh, I thought he
like.
said he was. I'm pretty sure he said he was inspired by it.
Yeah, he did, but he had been shown the video near production and had never seen it before. I'm pretty sure is what he said. So he
Oh,
was
I see. I
inspired by
see.
it, like close to production, like recently inspired by it.
That's fascinating that you say
That's what I
that
understood. It
because
could be. I maybe I
we'll
misread
talk
it.
about that.
I maybe misread the post,
Mm.
but yeah. Um,
I think. Go ahead. Go ahead.
mhm. I think there were some scenes that were really effective for different reasons. I think some
Hmm.
of those reasons were a bit contradictory to be in the same movie.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
for
We-
example, I think there's a scene with a bunch of kids near the end that I think would be great for younger audiences. Like if I was a child watching it, I would have been like, this is so hype. There's a lot of
mm,
merch options out of that, like and like, things like that. From different various toys utilized. And
hmm
so I can see some purpose with that, but then there's also these really emotional scenes which I got a little sad during. I know Sri, I think you said that the emotional scenes didn't work for you.
No, I
um
think that there's two scenes. Well, there's one scene that worked,
I agree. Okay, I wonder if it's the
and
same scene we have, because I only feel like one emotional scene really worked. I think others
it
were like,
was, and it was,
okay.
it was, it was one. It was a conversation that I guess Thor starts.
Is it near the end of the movie?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it like really near the end? It's kind of like the final wrap up conversation.
Not the final wrap up. It's the thing before where he tells someone, "Hey, don't do this thing."
Okay,
And
interesting.
that
Mine's different.
that scene, because I
But
think
I
the
thought that was good as
delivery
well, but that wasn't the
the
most
delivery
effective.
of that, credit to Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
I was
like
like
God
so
himself.
unlike any of the Thor movies.
It
Like it's
was
not something
definitely,
you
I
hear
feel, the
Thor
most.
say.
This movie, I think, was the most vulnerable we've ever seen Thor
Sure,
in
but I
a
also
lot of
didn't get
ways.
the idea that this is a rom com ever, because they're like, yeah, this is like
Yeah,
Marvel,
no,
but
this is
like
not
it's
a
a
rom
rom
com.
com,
I'm just
and
saying, it is not. It is
I
an
didn't
action
really,
movie with a romance in it. This is
yeah,
not
and
a rom com.
there's
And yeah, I
some
disagree with
interesting
that.
choices that go into into
Yeah, they said some of the
the
movies they were
movies.
inspired by for it. I remember. I can't
I
remember
didn't see,
which they
yeah,
were,
it was a lot
but
of rom coms. I'll say
yeah, and I've
that
seen most
obviously.
of them. Like he said, Clueless
I
at
didn't.
one point, and I'm like, where did you get Clueless from in this? I was like, I've seen
I think he
Clueless
was
like
clueless.
5+ times,
I think he was saying he was clueless. Uh,
maybe. But
just kidding. It
like,
was
that was one
just
of
a
the
joke.
movies where I like
Just a
I
joke.
can't see
Flip
the
that.
inspiration there.
No, I totally understand. But
Have you ever
for
watched
me,
Clueless? This is an important
yes, I
question to
have.
me. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So for me, I think that Christian Bale, the
Mm,
absolute lad,
so phenomenal.
thought he did great. And I love. I don't know if you've been reading some of his responses
Oh, I have
on
not. I've not been reading much
just
about it at all. Not
because
gonna lie.
there's a someone
I just
asked
didn't
him
care enough
like,
about it.
what did you think about like being like entering being a part of the big MCU, and he was like, I ain't a part of shit. Something like that.
That's
um
hilarious.
and then
I mean, it
like,
really is like, you
and
know.
apparently he didn't really watch the any of the MCU movies.
Oh no.
um and he was actually asked if he watched the Batman, and he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. I try to be try to
That's so
preserve cinema.
fascinating.
And I was like, that's cool. That's Christian Bale.
That makes sense for him.
Makes sense.
Like I get
But
that.
he delivers. No, like, and I'm not even joking. Like, I think he's a phenomenal
Oh,
actor.
he is.
And
That's no joke. Every
the
single time I've ever seen him, he is
he
phenomenal.
brings this really interesting character, and
Hmm.
there's apparently a lot of this of his performance that was left on the cutting room floor, with
Which
including a
sucks.
scream that was apparently like so like like haunting and terrifying that like they're like, we can't put this in a Marvel movie,
Oh, now
which
I see,
obviously
which sucks because see, I
fascinates
want to
me.
respond to that and say I want a director's cut to be able to see it, but obviously we're not going to get
No, no,
that.
those are stupid. All right,
I
they
that
don't work.
makes me so
So
annoyed.
if you don't get
That
that,
makes me
Taika
so
Waititi went
annoyed.
on some show and was like, yeah, director's cuts suck. And directors need to be like limited and whatever. And here's my take on that. As simple as it gets. All right, you can personally disagree about director's cuts,
Hmm.
but when a big director like Taika s- says, "Oh yeah, director's cuts are pointless," it actively just
Hurts other
hurts
creators.
other creators. Like, there are some creators who, like, not even everyone's like,
I
the
mean,
comments are all like, the Snyder Cut fans, oh, eat your heart out. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's not even about Snyder Cut. There's
no.
like, here's a surprise for you. The Snyder Cut is not the only director's cut that's out there.
What?
There's hundreds of
There's
other
also a director's cut
director's
of
cut.
Batman vs Superman. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
There
Thank
is,
you.
that is true, and it is much better than theatrical. But my
It
dad
is,
talks
but
to me about that like once a week about how upset he is about that. Because he
about,
hated Batman vs Superman, and then he watched the director's cut years later after I convinced him,
yeah,
and I had Sarita convince him a bit too to watch
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and he still doesn't love it, but he actually likes it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
But
it's
continue.
and so I just find it odd that you would just like, I think Taika has his whole personality and
Oh, for sure.
the no filter thing because I was watching behind the scenes with I think it was I forget the channel now, but there was behind the scenes and they were showing the new Asgard set
Mm.
and literally the
I'm
camera
waiting
started
for a new
rolling
Asgard theme
and
park, by the way, but
and
continue.
and Chris and Taika just they just start throwing rocks at the prop cars or whatever and breaking them and like shattering the windows
hmm
and they like slowly encourage Natalie Portman to join along
Oh my
as
god.
well. but
I
but
can see her
there's just
being
like that chaotic
resistant.
energy which obviously works well
hmm
because when captured it's like lightning in a bottle. You get
Yeah.
that Ragnarok. But at the same time, when you're just putting when you're releasing Taika into the wild and he's doing
he is a
all
very
these
interesting man.
press tours. By the way, really cool tattoos.
Oh
Really dig
yeah,
his
I haven't
tattoos,
actually seen his tattoos. I'll
and I
have to
like
look
his
that up.
sense of style. Though he says
hmm
like he just like whatever I find clean is what I wear. No, wait, Taika, what the hell are you
Nah,
talking about?
nah.
You're just telling
It
me,
could be true, but the thing is, whatever he finds clean in his perfectly curated wardrobe.
that's fair.
You
That's a
know what
fair
I
point.
mean?
It's a fair point. But
Because like
yeah,
people
cool.
say that, but
I
then
like
all of their wardrobe is like expensive, nice ass shit. It's like,
I like
yeah,
the
whatever you pick
aesthetic
out of there is gonna look good.
of his tattoos and stuff. Very very interesting. But yeah, I think there's some weird stuff that he can say while he's on these press tours that
Mm.
I don't know, just comes off weird, which I think is a big point that I want to talk about today, and I want to get to that now because I don't want to have this episode to be too crazy. So what happened? I wrote down this whole episode notes, right?
hmm
Like I said, and then I went online and I found,
Dangerous.
yeah, it's just shouldn't
Dangerous
it's going to
start.
be bad as soon as that happens. So I'm actually there's going to be quoting in this episode, guys. So bear
Ooh,
with me. But
fancy.
there's an article, and I'm sure many people have covered it by now. But it's an article from thegamer.com, and it's called "VFX Artists Are Refusing to Work with Marvel Due to Stress and Unrealistic Deadlines."
Mm.
This was interesting to me because
Hmm.
I did think that there are, frankly speaking, some scenes in Love and Thunder that looked not like not unfinished, but like just like
Unpolished
rushed,
might be a
like
better
unpolished.
word.
Yeah, they didn't have like the kind of the realism. Like you really notice it here, at least I think more so in other Marvel movies that also have CGI.
I'm
And
gonna be
recently I've
honest,
been
I didn't
watching.
notice it too much, but I also watched it in 3D, so gave it a bit of a weird
Oh,
effect because
that's fair.
it
I
wasn't
watched it
really
in
made for
IMAX, so I
3D.
could really take it
Yeah,
all in.
that's like the 3D it kind of had a weird like there was lines in this background at one point and stuff. So like I think
Interesting.
there was like some issues with the 3D that made it
Hmm.
where I thought it was just a 3D, but it may have actually been the CGI. You know what I mean? Like I thought it
Yeah.
was due
Now, I've been
to
watching on YouTube, I've been watching VFX artists react. Now, if you
mm,
don't know what that is, it's from a channel called Corridor Crew, and they
mhm.
are essentially, you know,
I like all
are
their
VFX
Bollywood
artists that make
ones where
these.
they don't react to any Bollywood movies and it's all South Indian movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a name. There's a Nomen. Is it Nomenclature? Is that?
Yeah, I noticed that they
Um.
renamed RRR to Tollywood because they got enough comments about it. But I noticed all
Yes,
their other
yes.
ones are like there's the
Which
Robo
they talk
movie.
to about like to no end about
Oh
RRR.
yeah, they loved it. I
They
watched that video.
is great. And so they make a
hmm
lot of these videos. And I will say, if you're, if you're someone who wants to start in VFX, they're a great place to start
hmm
because
Exceptionally talented
um,
people.
they have really, yeah, they're really good. And like they make primarily like, YouTube content, but they
hmm
also have occasionally professionals come in, like full-time
mm
movie,
Well, I remember
studio
Freddie
artists come
Wong
in.
is in that, right?
Yeah, well, he's
Yeah.
in that episode of with the RRR.
Oh,
He's
is he
not
not
in.
part of it always?
No,
I've
no,
only seen a few of
he's
their videos.
no, he's only been like two or three maybe.
Oh,
But
I assumed he was a
so he
regular with
brings
how naturally he
in
fit.
no, yeah. I mean, it's just Freddie Wong. Love Freddie Wong. Shout
Yeah,
out to
I've only
VGHS.
seen like two of their videos, I think, actually.
Hmm.
Recently. I've watched them
So
more in the past, but
so
so I thought he
they
was in
have
them.
it's very cool because they have industry professionals come in. Like they had an episode where they had someone who did the VFX on Zack Snyder's Justice League and
Ooh, that would be
Godzilla
sick. I
versus
need to watch
Kong,
that now.
and it was very interesting just to see them talk about it. And I have to say this really strongly. We it's so easy to talk about how VFX is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been watching so many behind the scenes. of movies, and the stuff that like I have a particularly sharp eye because I've studied film. Like this
It's
is
what you
something
look for. It's
this is I
something,
mean
yeah.
it's because it's part of I look for it in my own stuff, and like it's kind of how I watch movies now. Because
Mm.
Alexa, like you'd think Alexa and I, because we went to film school, we'd have the same kind of perception, but she's a different kind of
I watch
focus.
movies with a different
She
eye
has
than you, yeah.
yeah, because she's a more of a producer, but she's also
Yeah,
like assistant
I that's
directed
why
and
also I think I liked Love and Thunder more than you though, because I can view it how I watch movies and scenes, even ones I don't like, where I try and look for why would someone like this? Like what's the like audience?
mm.
And there's a lot
Well,
of scenes in Love and Thunder that I'm not maybe the best audience, and you definitely aren't the best audience for. I know your film tastes pretty well, but I know
what
who
the
the
hell is that supposed
audience
to mean? This
is, and
movie
I
has
who
like
I
a
have more
10-minute
respect.
sequence in black and white, and you thought I wouldn't like it.
Okay, I wasn't talking about that sequence. Okay.
Yeah, which I won't get into more about that because that
Yeah.
is, I think, a
I also
spoiler.
didn't
Because
like how they faded out of that. Like it felt weird,
this movie has
but
unusual choices
it
in
does.
editing for sure, but it's super easy. I think this is where I left off. To
Sorry.
talk about how there's problems with VFX,
hmm
but when you watch the actual like I want you to go search VFX reels because
Yeah.
the companies that make
It's
do
insane.
VFX, they'll have reels. They show you, what the camera was like captured and what the final product was,
So,
and every kind of step in between.
mm,
And some of them are so crazy that like you don't even notice. You're so
yeah.
focused, like, oh, this tree in the foreground is really obvious, and then you don't realize like the entire background is
Like
fake.
every single thing on screen was
Yeah,
CGI, and you're like,
everything's
oh,
but so
so
like
only this one thing that's actually really impressive.
and
That's
one
what,
of the
though I have to
artists that was
complain about one
on
thing. I don't like how these VFX reels are edited. I know that's obviously like the industry
yeah.
standard, but like it's so hard to tell what the base is because like it starts in the fully edited and then it quickly like shutters down all the layers to the base and then it adds back all the layers and it's so quick. It's like it doesn't give you time to appreciate the before and after,
Yeah. And
which is a personal thing.
there's
But
actually a person on VFX Artist React that kind of gave an analogy, and now of course I'm forgetting it, but it's
of
something along
course,
the lines of you essentially are graded by the VFX artists are graded by the 10% that they miss by, and not the 90% that they do right.
mm-hmm. Well, it's
Because you
true.
do 90% right, but they're like, this movie's
No,
awful. So,
I recently had this conversation actually with my dad about RRR because I was
mm,
talking about VFX and I mentioned how good they are in
and
that, and he's
India's
like,
a
"Well, there's quite a lot of bad VFX in that." I'm like, "Dad, watch some behind the scenes," and I actually showed him some of the stuff like with the train exploding and like how
yeah,
the whole every like that whole village is CGI in the background, like
and we're talking about
in like
primarily Hollywood here because like when
yeah,
you go
yeah.
to India and those markets,
Well,
you'd
some of
be
the
like not only
VFX for
is
RRR was done in Virginia. I saw a video about that. There's a
Virginia
Virginia
and I
studio.
believe Denmark.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but I think the Virginia was where the tankers were built. Um, but nevertheless, you'll be shocked at how much VFX goes into some of those like Indian movies, and
Mm.
with they're doing all that on a fraction of the budget
Oh
of a
yeah,
Hollywood
that's
like
what
of
I
a low
saw.
end
A
Hollywood movie.
comparison. Did you see the comparison between RRR and Thor budgets?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I saw. It came up on my feed, and it was I think like 80 million for RRR and like a or no, I can't remember the numbers, but it was something
Oh,
roughly like 80. I'm gonna say the wrong numbers, but it's rough,
that
ballpark.
defeats the whole
It's
purpose
ballpark
of the
though,
comparison.
because you'll see that it's the difference is roughly the same of what I'm gonna say.
Mm,
So it's like 80K or no, maybe it was only 30
80.
million for RRR, and then it was 100. I know it was 185 was Thor, and I'm just not. But then it was
Okay.
under 100 million for RRR at the very
Yeah,
least. I remember it
obviously
was
it's
less than
100
1/3.
million in INR is crazy
Oh
money
yeah,
over there.
it's insane money.
Like there's not gonna be a movie for at least a long
Oh
time
yeah, no way,
that hits
no
that
way.
mark, unless like Rajamouli's like partners up with
Partners.
Netflix, and Netflix is like, you take all the money, make our R2,
Yeah, yeah, right.
make quadruple R. But until then, I don't think that'll
Mm.
happen. So
Oh,
I
we got
want
some
to make sure
comments
that.
about VFX in
Oh,
chat, by the way. Let
go
me
ahead. Go
know
ahead.
when you're ready. Okay.
No, no, go ahead. Do it
So
now.
yeah, Kevin said a few comments about VFX. Firstly, saying that VFX designer is a dream for him. That's the
Oh,
motivation why I learned the basics, immediate from math, intermediate from After Effects. That discipline is beautiful, lots of patience, details, technique to achieve a realistic and powerful VFX. Very true. He said amazing VFX are coming from Canada, apparently. Some Indian film companies request service from Canadian companies. Very interesting.
interesting.
Right now, I read that in India, more Indian guys learn to do best VFX. I think that the challenge is the correct tracking of green, blue screen. Definitely, that is a big challenge. And what I've seen some of the more areas in, like in Vikram, actually, one of the most noticeable issues I saw was with a driving sequence, which I'm assuming it was blue or green screen in the background.
I actually went to a
There's one
set,
more comment.
An Indian set, and the integration of blue screen, I
Mm-hmm.
think is
It's very impressive.
it's awesome because the way when you're on a set for real, it's surprising the amount that's practical, and then where the kind
Yeah,
of
I
computer
saw.
generation steps in.
I know I'm gonna keep mentioning RRR because that's just recently. I've watched a lot of VFX videos for that. I just recently rewatched one of them on the bridge when they jump off either side, and they were on wires. There was a real bridge set, and
Yeah.
then it was blue screen on the ground either side, and they were like flung off with the wires and like jumped out onto the blue screen
hmm
and like landed on some pads. It looked like with wire
What are
work, so they didn't really land. But yeah. But then the final
what are the
comment
other
from Kevin, by
comments?
the way, is: do you
Yep.
remember Pushpa VFX? Yes, they need to polish more, but great advance, 100% Indian VFX. Oh, that's cool. So those
Yeah.
were 100% made in India. All the VFX for Pushpa is what Kevin's saying.
Pushpa is again, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can be like, oh, those logs look really funky when you're going down
The
the water,
waterfall,
and then you realize that the waterfall and the forest and literally everything surrounding it
everything
is all fake.
CGI. Mm-hmm.
And it's
And
just
you're
like
like,
literally an empty lot that they just CGI'd into a
yep.
forest. And you don't notice, but you're like, these sticks are fucking awful. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that
So you
it's,
think
you should
it's
never look at CGI
mm,
because it's part of filmmaking, and in an ideal world, the artists would have the time, and the filmmakers would have the budget, right?
yeah, most
But
definitely.
at the same time, it's so easy to sit on your fucking throne, your porcelain throne, and be like,
Mm-hmm.
"This fucking shit." But
Yeah.
anyway, I digress. I wanted to put that out there
No,
before I
I
get
agree,
into what we're going to
100%.
talk about today. Again, the source is thegamer.com. You can check it out, the full article over there. But this is just I found this a really interesting read. So in a thread titled "I am quite frankly sick and tired of working on Marvel shows," Reddit user Independent AD419 expressed their frustration with the studio, being Marvel. Quote: Marvel has probably the worst methodology of production and VFX management out there. They can never fix the look of the show for the show before more than half of the allocated time for the show is over. The artists working on Marvel shows are definitely not paid equivalent to the amount of the work they put in. And this was like the start of the thread, but there's a lot of other stuff, like people. So this is actually on a subreddit for VFX where people both new and familiar in this like industry can exchange. It's a
Mm.
subreddit. That's kind of the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
point. Speaking of r/Chumbag HQ. So there's another person who replies saying, quote, on Thor, they ask for a complete mini sequence 2 or 3 weeks before deadline. And then there's someone named Mickey Mumu says, quote, I request to not work on Marvel movies and TV shows. Unfortunately, they're becoming our biggest client. They expect a smorgasbord of options so they can change their minds 3 more times.
mm.
And again,
Hello, Chimera.
this just keeps going. But the one that I just there's actually, I'll say two because I read another one now. So there's another one that says, those who haven't been able to avoid working with Marvel confirm that it isn't improved in recent years. Quote, I'm in almost 3 years straight of Marvel. Welcome to the seventh level of hell.
Mm.
Another user shares that their time with Marvel has been a, quote, black hole of sleep deprivation and eating bad.
Damn.
The, the last one I'll mention is from a user named Randver, Randver, another Reddit user. They say, quote, I'm on my third Marvel project in a row and literally just woke up at 5:30 a.m. on a Saturday with stress going, I don't want to do this anymore.
Damn.
It's 6 a.m. now, and I am making a reel to apply someplace that has other projects other than Marvel because I can't do this anymore. And there's a few other people that are saying how it's unavoidable to work for Marvel because there's such a juggernaut. Like VFX
Mm-hmm.
studios all over are being like, pulled in to work
They're
on all
making
these
so much
Marvel.
right now, like with the shows and the movies. They just have constantly
Absolutely.
so many projects going.
And that I've seen someone who's, I think it was in the article, but I could have also just read it in an auxiliary comment or thread that like they just left VFX industry as a whole because they weren't pleased with working for Marvel.
Damn.
And this leads to, I think, two questions. One, obviously, the labor and how you use VFX artists and how there's as far as I understand, someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they're unionized, first of all.
I
But
have no clue, yeah, but probably
second
not.
of all, I think that the treatment of VFX artists has been so looked down upon because you're
Mm.
always like just fix this, dude.
They're
Like
gonna
we
have like a
like
strike soon or something. That's what I feel like has to happen. Like it's gonna
yeah
be something like
yeah.
the writer strike. You know what I mean?
And
We've
the
had
other part
multiple
of
of
that
those.
and the other side of that is um, the MCU and the conversation directly about the MCU because
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of conversation since the release of Thor: Love and Thunder where people are like, we're I think IGN had an article where I was like, we're 55 hours into this phase of Marvel,
Yeah.
and we have no idea where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in a lull.
I
You know,
agree.
everything that's
I
been
was
releasing
just talking about that
is
the other day.
are all these like they're releasing stuff that potentially could be setups. Like I watched Moon Knight. I haven't watched all the Marvel shows, but I've watched Moon Knight
I
and
need to finish Moon Knight.
I've watched WandaVision, and I don't think like all the stuff feels pretty self-contained. I don't
Yeah.
think
I have
they've
some
really
things I
started
thought were
to.
going to connect to, like, even stuff I've, like, been waiting for connects. Falcon and Winter Soldier has some more obvious, bigger picture connections that are
Interesting.
going to
I haven't
happen,
watched that
but
show,
we
but
haven't
again, you
seen
can
any.
spoil that if you
No,
like.
it's, but it's like, we haven't seen that in any of the movies. And then again, in
Yeah,
Loki, there's also some other bigger picture things that I thought were going to come into some of these movies we've had so far, and nothing. And so I'm
I think
left a little
that it's become
confused. And
a
by the way,
huge
feel free,
point of.
Chimera, to vent out your frustrations about Marvel.
I think its big point is that it's quantity now. It feels like it's becoming
That's how I'm
quantity.
feeling too,
So,
especially with these
and I think
shows.
that's leading to so much of this stress because these people are being just flat out overworked. And
Yeah.
I can tell you this as someone who's actively like working every single day to do something that I love for a living. It would I can't imagine a bigger disappointment
Mm-hmm.
personally, like to
No, I
myself,
agree.
than doing something you love and being forced to not love it
Mm-hmm.
because of something that's out of your control. Now, in a remember when I was talking about earlier about how Taika, they let him out of the wild. Well, in a I don't know what the correlation of this is, but Variety put out a video where, and it's a very long running series on their channel called I think it's called Anatomy of a Scene, where they have a
I've seen a
director
couple of
or
those.
yeah filmmaker come in and they break down their own thing. And there's a clip that's been blowing up on the on social media, which is Taika and Tessa Thompson talking about how bad the CGI is
Oh my god.
of their own movie. Because there's a shot where they're
I haven't actually seen
like
that.
Taika pauses and he goes, "Let me ask you something. Do you think Korg looks real here?" And first of all, he's a pile of rocks.
Yeah.
So
Never
as real
looks
as he
real.
as really as supposed to. But then Tessa goes, "Oh yeah, not entirely." And then they keep going, and he's like, "Yeah, it look a little blue." And then they keep going, and they talk about how the editing's bad,
Oh
which
my
I think
god.
it's just talking about Taika because isn't he isn't that like what you do? You're in the driver's
Confirmed. But I guess you know
like
what? I mean, there's so many hands in the pot with Marvel movies.
for sure. But it's essentially I didn't even notice when I was watching it because there's so much screen real estate when you're watching it on IMAX. But it's a scene where they're talking, and I guess they changed the plot of the movie in the edit, which is
Mm.
exactly what's being said by these people about not just the plot, just the tone of these movies and shows have been kind of shifting so late into production
Yeah, that's what
that it
I want to say it was Benedict
becomes
Cumberbatch was talking about for the multiverse. So like the script was changing every day.
Mm-hmm. There's, I don't think it was in this article, but there was someone else who was talking about just Thor: Love and Thunder being so close to their deadline and whatnot,
Yeah.
in a further degree to what's actually in the article. But yeah, it's a scene where like they change the plot, so Tessa's supposed to be like jumping when they cut to this shot, but she just like that's not a plot point
She's no
anymore.
longer jumping,
And
yeah.
but no, she still is like she still like startles herself, and it's
Mm.
just like awkwardly there. It's just like
Oh god.
there, she just like
I didn't even
startles
notice it.
in the scene. Um, and again, it's interesting, and I think there's another one where
Oh no, I feel like
quit.
soon we're gonna start hearing this term, and maybe it's already been said, but I feel like there's gonna be some Marvel fatigue coming. And I think it's already
Absolutely.
starting.
I think it is. I think the lull is certainly
Because
not
like
helping
I'm a bit
because we're
over
so
it. I'm
far
not
in.
gonna lie, and we've had this discussion multiple times since Endgame.
Yeah,
I mean, the second Endgame happened, my investment personally went down
it
significantly because
it
my
did
story
for sure.
ended, the one I'd been watching for years, ended.
And I think well for us we're even the point for us stands a little bit even stronger because
Timing.
you a little less so than me because Endgame ended my senior year of college.
Mm.
So I
It came out
literally
my
and became
last year, like the last year I was
yeah.
in school, but
So
yeah,
I
yours was
ended
right at your end
no,
of
like I had
semester.
finals and then the next day I think I went to watch
Yeah,
Endgame
I
because it
remember
was
we
just
drove.
came out that day. Yeah. It was like I watched it opening day. We drove 40 minutes of it, right? It was like
Hmm.
to get to this theater. So and it was awesome. But after that I was like that's good. And I think Austin was talking about how I think it was off stream. We talked for quite a while on Friday,
Mm.
just Austin and I, and we talked about one of the things was how like the MCU should maybe think about weaning itself out in terms of like just
The amount of
finding
content.
new stories and I don't know. There's something going on, and I think that people are starting. Like I love the MCU. I don't currently actively watch it, so I don't have an opinion either, like a strong opinion either way. I'm just kind of in the middle. I've watched, I've watched Shang-Chi. I've watched Doctor Strange in the
I've seen all
Multiverse
the
of
movies
Madness,
that
and
have come out.
yeah, and
And
I've
I've
watched a
seen
few of the shows.
about half the shows, I think. Now, I haven't
Hmm.
finished Moon Knight. I haven't watched Hawkeye or Miss Marvel.
Yeah, and it's just odd to be kind of go so far in. And I think that the 55 hours thing really becomes like, oh, we're 55 hours in,
Mm,
especially because there's so many shows that are building out all of
yeah.
these things. And before it was all these like 2.5 hour movies. Um, but these shows are offering so much more. And some people are really gravitating towards them. Like Miss Marvel, I've heard people say
Hmm.
is really good. And I like certain things that they stand for. But at the same time, um, I don't know. I'm just looking at the overall idea of this of the multiverse, and I have no idea where it's gonna go. I'm just
Hmm.
I want a nice story, and I do think what you're saying is right. I think that Marvel fatigue
Yeah, I don't know if I came up
is
with that or if I read that somewhere, but
that's totally fine. I
I'll take
think that
credit.
it's slowly getting
Everyone. And
to
I think it's just
everyone.
they put
Yeah.
in, I think they, so
And that's
the
exactly what
first
Chimera says. He says
phase,
Marvel. So
yeah.
Chimera says Marvel fatigue is the perfect way to put it. Couldn't have said it better. By the way, something that only Sri might be able to relate to is I got mangoes from Pakistan. Not sure how big of a fan he is. Mangoes from other countries are the best in the world. That is absolutely
Sri's
true
actually
with
told me
mangoes.
about how
I
mangoes from India are the best.
Yeah, no, mangoes from that part of
The
the
world.
world. I mean, is are just really good, and
I need to
they're
eat
so
one.
good. In fact, that you could just pop open like the top off and just like well, first you have to squeeze the mango, then you pop off the little nub at the top, and you can just suck it like as a juice box, and it's wonderful. Um, let's
Yeah.
see
Yeah, I
what
do want to mention one thing that you said because
go
he
ahead, go
mentioned
ahead.
how it made him happy that Pakistan is being represented to some
Miss
extent
Marvel,
in Miss
right,
Marvel. And
sure.
I do like how much representation they are having in this new phase of Marvel. I think
Hmm.
that that is very important. Because
Yeah, and
representation
it's one of
matters.
those
Like
like
little kids
two-sided
seeing
things.
themselves as superheroes is such an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I just
yeah,
don't know. Maybe
especially
maybe
with
it's the
better
marketing
content.
is odd just in terms of like maybe. Thor: Love and Thunder would have been better as advertised as a kids movie, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, there's not very kid friendly stuff in
Yeah,
this
that's
movie.
what
Like,
I was saying. There's a lot of scenes that have different target audiences, and there
yeah,
it makes this like
and
amalgamation
apparently there's like
of messiness.
there's 8 hours of footage for Thor Ragnarok,
That makes sense.
because I think what tends or it's not Ragnarok, sorry, right, Love and Thunder, and I think what tends to happen is with the Taika like to just keep going when they're on sets. But like I saw it in an interview that is something he said. So I think that it kind of lends to so much footage being input into the machine that when you need to crank that out and get it to a reasonable time, it would be I can just it's hard, I mean, like
Mm.
it, it's not going to be easy, and not everyone's going to have the freedom to release a 4 hour something director's cut,
Yeah.
which even Taika wouldn't want because
Yeah,
he
apparently
doesn't
not.
like director's cuts anyway.
Yeah. I like director's cuts overall. But
Even if they're not better than the original, I think it's just interesting to see what the director
wanted.
wanted to execute on, and
Mm.
I think
I think
it's
it's a good way
really
for both
interesting.
the studio and the director to get the movie they want. That's kind of how
Yeah,
I
for
view
sure.
it.
Yeah, and it
Um,
almost feels like it's a second wave of sales that you can easily get because all the people that are like really big fans of this person, not just Snyder Cut, in just general.
mhm.
Like if someone's like, "Oh yeah, I love the movie" or "I love the director," they're gonna buy the director's cut
Yeah, it's almost like,
again to watch it.
yeah, I mean, it's not like free extra money because a lot of work goes into recreating the new cuts. Like there's more CGI,
For sure.
there's editors, like there's a lot of people who go into it and a lot of steps. But yeah, I mean, I think they're oftentimes worth it in these bigger movies where they try and keep it shorter for film, which I am happy, or not happy, but intrigued. I saw James Cameron recently made a comment about how Avatar is going to be long and everyone just has to deal with it.
Yeah,
And I do
I love those
appreciate that,
quotes.
but I
He
also want to say just put an intermission. Just put an intermission so I can go
oh
pee.
yeah,
And he said like
like a
it's okay to
nice.
leave and go to the bathroom, but it's like I don't want to. I paid money to watch this movie. I don't want to miss 5 minutes of it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a long piece, but
well, I don't know how close the
I
bathroom is. I'm aiming
I
high.
do I found those interviews to be very very funny because he
Hmm.
just it's like James Cameron went completely uncensored on this one. Like he just like keeps
Oh
dropping
yeah,
f bombs. Like who the fuck like
yeah,
doesn't matter. Like, he's just going off, and
he is.
it's very
It
funny.
was very fascinating.
But I'm excited for Avatar, and I think that
I'm
it would be
intrigued. I'm not
nice.
gonna say
It'd
excited.
be I'm actually excited
Okay.
because I think that that energy that surrounds, like, how do I say this?
Hmm.
Like the excitement that I saw people had for Endgame or Infinity War, I'll say, because
Mm.
I think Endgame was like peak. Like everyone's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Endgame. I think Infinity War, where people went in, and was like, you have to see Infinity War. You have to see Infinity War. That was the last time I saw that for a non MCU movie was Avatar,
Mm.
and the most recent time, actually the second time, the most recent time was Top Gun Maverick,
Mm.
which,
Yep.
fun fact, was
Yep.
the original topic of this episode. but
Hilarious.
but other than those,
Um.
so I'm excited to see what happens
Mm.
with the Avatar movies.
Yeah, I do agree
I see.
with Chimera's comment in chat. He says, as much as I liked Avatar, I'm not hoping for Avatar 2 to be better than that. And I agree.
I think no,
I'm
it's
not
just
hoping for it.
to be a part of, like, see, because again, the VFX artists React have an episode on like looking at the teaser for it, and just the work of CGI. That is the wettest water I've ever seen. It is all computer
Yeah, I know we
generated,
want to talk about VFX. The Avatar films are like a
and
master class in
and
it
I'm glad
almost.
that
And
they're
they're not,
given,
again, perfect, but they're.
I'm glad they're given however many years to work on these
Hmm.
because it's intensive. Like
Yeah.
what what kind of computers are they using?
Yeah, I want to see
How
these
many
setups.
storage units
I know. They
does
must
a
have like
movie
a
like
whole building
Avatar
that's just
take?
storage.
Yeah, like it's crazy. But I really do think, and again, it feels weird talking about movies like this as someone who also was like uh, studied films and wants to be so deeply into that industry. I don't ever want to, say negative stuff, but I also
Hmm.
like to be honest. And I think, by the way,
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson has helped me greatly in that, because hearing him, the way he pretty much whatever Brandon's philosophy on how he talks about this stuff is, I'll mimic that, because he says it much better than I can.
Hmm.
About how you can kind of be honest as long as it's not malicious. And I think that, honestly speaking, man, I would love to see the MCU take a break. I'd love to see,
No,
you
honestly, for
know,
them
give
to
it a
slow
give it a few
down
years.
would be the
Yeah.
best thing for them. They made a mistake, I think, powering on so much. And I get why. So much money
Hmm.
coming in. You see those numbers, you want to monetize it and keep going. But I think if they had have taken a year break after Endgame,
Hmm.
it would have been so much better. And
Well,
if they stuck
they
to
had
just
to
like
take
one
they were
show
forced
and two movies max per
they
year,
were
so
forced to
much
take a
better.
break because of COVID and stuff. But I don't think that really did much, because they were still putting out all this,
Yeah, because they still
all this stuff was still being
the
worked on. And
shows and
yeah,
stuff still came
I
out.
think
Like
that,
WandaVision came out, wasn't it December 2020? I think was when it
um,
started coming out.
but yeah, I think it was like
Maybe
January
I don't know. It was
2021. But either way, it was during the COVID times,
yeah,
nevertheless.
but they were
We're
still
talking about
making so much that now it just was almost like then they had way too much content right after. Instead of slowing down, they just used that time to in quarantine work on it. Like because like VFX stuff you can do during quarantine.
yeah. And
And
I think and it's nothing against the talent, but I've also heard from the people that are working on Marvel, not even the VFX artists, that it's kind of it's a daunting beast
yeah,
to be a part of.
I bet. I
So
mean,
I
it's a
think that
huge thing.
giving it some time, I think that in an ideal world, and I'm going to wrap this up soon, because again, this
Hmm.
episode went
I
on
agree.
for a long time.
Yeah, we always do.
But yeah, but I think that in an ideal world, they'd give it a few years. I know that's like crazy, because everyone's like, "Well, it's merchandise time," but
Hmm.
and then like letting some of the people that grew up on Marvel, or like kind of went through, like, knows. I'm sure Kevin Feige is a genius, right?
Yeah,
But
right. He has to be.
no one, but like the fans that really understood Marvel and were all along for the ride, know what made that special. And
Mm.
I
But
think
the
it'll be,
problem is, would they hire the right people? Because like, if we want to look into
well,
it like that, like look at Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like the new shows have been
well,
good, but like you know what I mean?
Taika's doing Star Wars.
It's true. But
So
you get what
he's
I'm
gonna.
saying? Like the I'm talking about the trilogy, obviously,
No, I
because
do
that's
agree, but I
but
think
like
that even Star Wars in recent times, they've
the
not
shows and
missed.
stuff
Like,
has been good.
yeah,
But
because the
I'm talking
movies, like, I
specifically
think
about the
everyone
movies. Like
realized
I'm
that the
saying
movies
that
are,
because
yeah,
those ideally should have been really good if they brought on people who understood those first movies, but they didn't.
I see what you're saying, but I think that in recent times, that the recovery that Star
Okay,
Wars has
that's
had
fair.
with Clone Wars, the Bad Batch,
Obi-Wan.
Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, and then they also had another show as well, I think.
Oh, they've had a lot of
Along
shows.
along with the book,
Oh, the
Jesus,
Boba Fett,
the
yeah.
book of Boba Fett as well. So I think all those kind
I need
of,
to watch those.
they're building out their whole thing. And you know what's crazy about this? They're both fucking Disney. Like, you're you're getting the bread either way. Just ease off the
Yeah.
gas pedal,
Disney has
like,
so much. Yeah, again, we
a
can say that
little
again for
bit.
Star Wars. It's just they're just pumping out so much
Yeah.
content and it's too much. Um I do want to briefly
Yes.
mention that Kyle has mentioned they said probably the great show, probably the best superhero show ever is The Boys, and I've heard that a lot and I need to watch that.
I'm waiting until the show's over,
Is that
because
what you're waiting for now?
I
I've
don't
been
want to.
debating watching it for a while.
I've heard,
It's
I've
just
heard
the
really good things, and
I've
especially
heard
this
only
season, I
good
heard
things,
is some
honestly.
crazy things. And I did just read that the Boys is actually taking a break, but it's
Hmm.
not a break in terms of, like, they're not doing the Boys anymore. But what they're doing is, season 3 just ended, and between season 3 and season 4, they're releasing a spin-off like season,
Hmm.
and the spin-off season will kind of have these events that occur. Then they'll go back in to season 4 and continue from there. And I think it's called Varsity is the name of the show. And they
Hmm.
also have the animated show, with, I think, Seth Rogen is one of the producers for,
Hmm.
called The Boys Diabolical.
If we
So
want to talk about animated superhero shows, though, Invincible is phenomenal. I have watched that. I cannot
both
wait for season
both from
2.
Amazon Prime, which is
Amazon Prime,
very
they're
interesting.
like silently making some really killer stuff.
They're
Because
getting up there.
they don't make
Of the
as
Rings.
much.
They got the Wheel of Time.
They have a lot of
They got
shows in the works
Expanse.
and coming out that are quite good.
Yeah.
They
So
also have some not so good, but they have. I feel like they are
who
making a
doesn't?
lot of high quality content right now
They're investing
that
a
are
lot for sure.
overlooked.
$1 billion into Lord of the
Oh,
Rings
friggin' hell
is
yeah!
something crazy. But nevertheless, that
Chad is
was our
very
conversation.
astonished that we've never seen the
We have
shows. By
not
the
watched the
way,
boys. I see them
there's a
freaking
lot
out
of shock and
over.
jab about that.
Yeah, but I will watch it and we'll talk about it eventually on the show,
Yeah,
I'm sure. But
eventually, 5 years.
of course, yeah. Until then, this has been another extended episode, and this is why. Fun fact: I was originally gonna do both topics because I was like, I'll do 20 minutes of intro,
Nah,
like just chat, 20
we
minutes
always talk
on
too
this,
much.
and 20 minutes on the Maverick and that kind of the
Nah,
topic of that. We've talked about like 40, 50 minutes of just
that's how we
Thor:
always
Love and
do.
Thunder.
I'm not
So
even
I think
surprised at this point.
yeah, I think it's a good thing I decided to hold off. But
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, that was your latest episode of the SDSK show. This is probably will probably have the most clickbaity title of anything else
Are
we've
you gonna
done.
write
Probably
clickbait
like,
in parentheses?
yes, I have to. If you guys probably none of you guys get that joke,
No,
maybe we'll explain it one of these
we've just said
episodes.
it before on
I think
Twitch.
it's
I
like
know.
yeah, no, but it's on some deep like
Yeah, it
it's
was
like
some
2 hours
random
into some walkthrough.
after game cooldown.
So yeah, it won't be in it won't be on like an easy accessible
No.
part. But nevertheless, we hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you rate it on whatever podcast service you're listening to this on. Spotify, iTunes, I think.
Mhm.
I'm not even sure if it's on iTunes at this point, to be honest with you. So there's a lot going on here.
And make sure to
But
follow us on
nevertheless,
Twitch to join us live every
there you go.
Monday. Almost
You
every
can do that
Monday. Most Mondays.
most Mondays. But of course, we're doing a whole bunch of awesome stream stuff. You can check it out
Mhm.
all on Twitch. You can also go on over to YouTube, check out GW Co Plays, Alexa Plays if you want to see some Stardew Valley stuff. Go participate in the giveaway on Twitter or sorry on Instagram with Alexa,
At
or
Alexa and Go.
go make a GW and Co meme and get a chance to win some free games or just make some memes. I don't know. If,
Post the memes in
maybe
our
find
Reddit,
the satisfaction.
r/chumbagHQ.
Yeah, maybe find satisfaction just making the memes.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your thing, then hell yeah. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always, until next time, have a good night, good morning, and a damn good time.